Hello everyone, my name is Péter Györök and I'm a member of the KDB core team. And today I will demonstrate the OS module. Previously, the core team provided low-level functionality using a variety of methods. For example, functions in the .Q namespace and negative bang functions. But now that the module system is available, this opens up a new way to make new functionality available for users. And this OS module is the first step in this direction. And this is based on some functionality that has been repeatedly requested by users. And oftentimes, multiple users re-implement the same functionality, but we would like to provide a standardized implementation that also takes platform differences into account. So once the OS module is available, you will be able to load it using the use mechanism. So you just say use OS. And today I will demonstrate three functions from this module. The first one is the read function. This is a function which is similar in functionality to read 0 and read 1, but the main difference is that it doesn't transparently decompress any compressed files or decrypt any encrypted files. So because the read 0 and read 1 functions do transparent decompression, and if the decompression fails, then the queue process just crashes, which makes it impossible to use those functions to diagnose the root cause. So for example, if file write is interrupted by a system shutdown or hardware failure, then it usually results in a corrupted compressed file, which would fail if read by those built-in functions. But with the OS read function, this transparent decompression does not happen. So for example, it is possible to find regions of the file with all zeros, which should rarely show up in a compressed file. So here is an example where we set a file with some compression parameters, and then we use the OS read function to read the first 8 bytes of the file, which in the case of a compressed file is the string kxzip. And we can use this function both with the file symbol and the file handle that was opened by ahopen. The second function is sleep. So this is also quite often used functionality. And although it's possible, for example, on Linux to use the / command to run the sleep OS command, it has some overhead. So if we need some very precise intervals to sleep, then that is not quite useful. And so the sleep paradigm for Windows is much more complicated because there is no built-in sleep command in the Windows shell. So we can take advantage of the Q built-in temporal types. So we can use the built-in second type to specify a number of seconds, or a time span to specify an actual time span down to the nanosecond precision, or the default, if we just give a number, is number of milliseconds. And the third functionality is the process start and interaction feature, which is at the proc subnamespace of OS. So this is partially inspired by the subprocess module from Python, and it seamlessly integrates the Linux and the Windows ways of starting subprocesses. And it also provides several kinds of options to customize how it should behave. So this is a more flexible version of the / or the equivalent system function, which starts the subprocess in a very specific way, but OS proc can be customized using these options. A command can be provided either as a string or as a list of parameters. And the list version is useful because it takes care of escaping parameters with embedded spaces or special characters. And we can also use an asynchronous mode. So unlike a system which always waits for the process to finish, if we start the process in asynchronous mode, then it will keep running in the background and we can do something else while it's processing. We can specify whether we want to capture the standard in or standard out separately. We can also wait for the process to finish or forcibly kill it. For asynchronous mode, we get back some pipe handles and the process ID, which can be used to communicate and manage the process. So here are some examples of using this functionality. The easiest one is just passing in a placeholder to indicate no options. This means that all the standard input, standard output, and standard error are just passed through from the console. So for example, if we start the sort command, we just type in some elements and then we press Ctrl D to end the input. Then it also prints back the output to the console, and the return value is just the exit status. So another difference from the system function is that it doesn't throw an OS error if it returns a non-zero exit status, which would result in losing the capture standard output. We can use the standard input option to pass in the standard input from code. And we can also capture either the standard output or the standard error or both. So in this case, we have an ls command that both successfully finds a file and also fails on another one. So we can see that the successful entry has gone to the standard out and failure goes to the standard error. We can also use the dup option for standard error to merge the two streams into one. We can use the async option to start a process, and once we assume it's finished, we can issue the wait function call, and it takes the same process ID that was returned from the OS proc start call, and after the wait is finished, it returns the same return value that the proc start would do in synchronous mode. And we can also start a queue subprocess, which will be very useful to set up, for example, a tick setup with a single process. So using a coordinator process to large subprocesses. And in this case, we use a pipe for the standard input, and we can write to the pipe to pass in commands to the subprocess. So in this case, we set the listening port to some random value, and then we issue another command to print the port to standard output. Then we use the read zero function to read from the standard output, which returns the port number that was printed by the child process. At this point, we could use this number to open a RPC handle to the child process. And once we're done with it, we can issue the double backslash, which causes the child process to quit. We always have to either wait or kill the process just to make sure that it doesn't hang around. So we would like to hear your feedback about these features, any feature requests. And if you would like to try this out, then please contact tech@kx.com and we can give you access. Thank you for listening.